Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Flag Media. Today's episode on July the 7th, 2023, we are going to be reviewing a video game that I recently picked up for the Nintendo Switch, and that is AEW's Fight Forever. It just came out this week, and I had a couple of days to play it. I'm not fortunate enough to be getting advanced copies yet, like some of these other YouTubers and reviewers out there, so had to wait for the launch. And I wanted to give a couple of days of actual playing the game and going through some of the features and creating wrestlers, things of that nature, just so that I can give like my honest opinion, my feedback on the game, and what I think about it. This game has been released for everything under the sun. Current gen, next gen, PC. So if you have a PS4, an Xbox One, if you have a Xbox Series S or X, or the PlayStation 5, or a Nintendo Switch, or a PC, you have an option of picking this game up. It's not like the WWE 2K games, where they're pretty much limited to the PlayStation and Xbox brands, and now they're even moving away from the older generation and sticking with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X. First and foremost, I've seen all the reviews out there and the thoughts on the games from other YouTubers and other people who had advanced copies of the game. So I was trying to figure out which version of the game I wanted to pick up, as I do own a PlayStation 5, I have a PC, and I have a Switch. So I was trying to pick which console I wanted to pick this up on. And I ended up getting the Nintendo Switch version for after seeing the visuals, after seeing what it looks like on all the consoles, and then seeing the portability of the Nintendo Switch version, I decided to pick this up. It's not missing any of the features. Of course, you will be getting a lower resolution as far as the graphics are concerned, but the character models, the gameplay, everything is pretty much still there. Again, so you're just losing fidelity as far as resolution. Of course, the PlayStation 5 and Series X and PC versions are going to be, near the 4K mark and giving you top of the line resolutions as far as that's concerned. But not everybody's going to be able to lug a PlayStation 5 with them everywhere they go. And I do a bit of traveling, and so I do like taking my Switch with me. And this game falls in line with older arcade-style wrestling games. This is not a simulation. This is more in line with the older WWF No Mercy, WCW versus NWO Revenge. It's very much in line as far as gameplay is concerned to that. THQ Nordic is the publisher in this case, and Yuke's, which had their hands in the original games as well, is developing. And they actually brought back some of the original directors and developers of No Mercy and those games from the past into developing this version or this game for AEW. So the gameplay style is very much in line with that. So the only thing they switched up was a couple of things. So for example, before the No Mercy games, or the WWF and WCW games back in the Nintendo 64 days, you had a strike button, you had a grapple button, and then they would change the move sets accordingly. If you tapped the button, it was light strikes or grapples, and if you held the buttons down, they were for heavy strikes or grapples. This keeps that in the same way. That hasn't changed. It just adds a kick button now. So you have a little bit more variety when it comes to punches and kicks. And then you have your grapple button and a dedicated run button. And that's your four face buttons. And then on the top of your controller, you would have your L and R buttons. So you can dodge grapples or reverse grapples and dodge strikes. This is easier said than done, as you have to figure out the timing with this game. It's not as obvious as the older games and not as easy to reverse as the older games are, which is good and bad. It kind of creates a little bit more of a satisfying feeling when you actually do reverse moves, and versus it also picks up the pace, because more moves actually land and matches don't last forever. I remember back in the day, I mean, we could have a match go on for hours, especially if we had somebody playing as the special referee or something like that. Which brings me to the next thing. The video game itself is very light when it comes to match types and features. This is not like your current WWE games where they have every match under the sun, every arena under the sun. This game, you have to keep in mind, is AEW's very first game. This is their first foray into creating something playable for their audience. And they're trying to stick to that more arcade style, like I mentioned earlier. So it's very much so a couch type of game. You could play this game online. It's not cross-play yet. I'm not sure if that is something that is coming down the line. I've seen rumors that an update will come that allows cross-play for online gameplay. I don't know if that's true or not. Hopefully it is, because the game plays well online. I've played a couple of matches. There is ranks, and you can work your way up through the ranks in the online mode until you become, a legend status. Then there's the story mode, where every month is split up into different weeks. You can choose to work out, go about and look around the town, and you can even, pick up some fine dining in whatever town you're in to then recover some energy lost from traveling and also from the matches that you've had in the previous week. You can also choose to do a midweek match either in Rampage or Dark, AEW Dark, so that you can, boost up or pad up your record, because the game keeps track of your record. It starts you off in the story mode right off the bat into a battle royale, which I don't know why they wanted to do that, but they kind of throw you into the deep end of the pool. And if you don't have it set on easy, be prepared to get your butt handed to you right away. I recommend you use the training mode so you can kind of get used to blocking, and you can also get used to striking and all that good stuff. And you can, practice with your favorite wrestler. One of my favorite things to do in the older video games, and even in the current stuff that comes out, is create my own wrestler. And unfortunately, this is where AEW Fight Forever really falls short for me personally, as somebody who likes to create wrestlers, especially wrestlers that aren't in the game and are, as a part of the older generation wrestlers, things of that nature. So, It's bare bones. There's not much there. You'll see outfits for wrestlers that you would recognize and say, "Oh, well, I can create Andre the Giant, for example, because there's his signature leotard." But no, as soon as you get into the game, you'll realize the limitations. First of all, for example, there's no wrestler that you can create that's over like 6'7", over 500 pounds. So right off the bat, Andre the Giant is off limits. Not only that, a 6'7" wrestler looked almost identical height to a 5'11" wrestler if you create them. So keep that in mind. So you're gonna be limited in that scope. There are a few middleweights or lightweights or cruiserweights even that you could create that look halfway decent. And AEW has said that, and the developers have said that they are working on the downloadable content that will bring more stuff to the Creator Wrestler. So I am looking forward to that. So what's the big deal about having this game right now, right? Well, it's fun at the end of the day. So this is one of those things that for me as a consumer, I want to have fun when I play my video games. And that's not saying that the WWE games aren't fun, but they are different. They're going for a more photorealistic approach and a more sim-based kind of a thing, and more of a, I don't know, I guess realism is the game for the WWE 2K series. Maybe. I'm not too thrilled when it comes to those games, and they're not as fun for me. This game, even though is still very much bare bones and can use a lot of DLC when it comes to features, it's still way more fun. It really brings me back to playing the older style games. It's very much just pick up and play. If you have a couple buddies over and if you can play on the couch and get together, and if you're drinkers, then you're definitely gonna have some fun with this game. And if you're not, that's fine too. If you're just going to sit there and order a pizza and just play some video games, this is definitely one of those games where 4 players on the couch is going to be a great experience. The online mode works well. I didn't notice any hiccups. People complained online about not being able to reverse or not being able to time reversals. I didn't experience that. I had just fine matches, and so far so good. Again, this is speaking for the Switch version of the game. I will say this. In the career mode, in the one-player story mode, I did get a crash bug in one of the modes where I was around halfway through the story mode, and no matter what I did, if I reset the game, I would go back in and try to start the pay-per-view match, and the game would just keep staying there frozen, loading forever. And that was a bummer, because I ended up having to restart the story mode so that I can get the rest of the storyline. Also, I restarted the game with a standard wrestler with Dustin Rhodes instead of a creator wrestler, which is what I was working my way through the game with originally. So maybe it's the creator wrestler that caused the crash. I don't really know, but that is something that I experienced, and I looked online to see if anybody else was having this issue. And all that I can find online was people really having a bad time with the PlayStation 4 version of the game. Apparently that game is a mess right now and needs a lot of updates to fix. I don't know. I don't have that version. So what I would say for this game is they announced like a battle royale, like a 30-person battle royale game. Kind of like a Fortnite-y kind of a battle royale situation where they're going to stick everybody in a stadium and then everybody fights until there's only one person left. This looks like a really fun mode. It's going to be a free mode that is coming very soon to the game as downloadable content. There are already new wrestlers that they are adding to the game within the first week and a half or so of the game. Day one, you could automatically download Broken Matt Hardy for about $5. He was a pre-order bonus for most if you had pre-ordered the game, and if you didn't pre-order the game, well, for $5 you can have him as a playable character. And there's new characters coming out, and that's the idea of this game. So what's really going to set this game apart, and they can really capitalize on this if they do it right, is the game is supposed to be, it's called Fight Forever for a reason. It's supposed to be a downloadable content heavy game. We all know that you can go buy NBA 2K every single year, and it's basically a reskinned, few optimizations here and there, and it's a new updated roster, and they swap players around. But you also lose any licensing deals. So, for example, a couple years ago, you had the Michael Jordan edition of NBA 2K, and then the next year you may not be able to play as Michael Jordan because the deal that they had for last year does not apply to this year's game. So things like that won't be happening with Fight Forever, because they're going to instead of releasing a brand new game every single year, what they have said is that they're just going to release updated rosters, new content, new DLC to keep the game going. It's going to be one of those games that stays fresh. So instead of every year $60, you might just pay $30 or $40 per year, and you get that updated roster. But the kicker is you don't lose anybody who's already in the game. So for example, this year Cody Rhodes is in both the WWE game and he's in the AEW game. And I'm pretty sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this is the first time that a current active wrestler is in both rival companies' video game at the same time. Maybe something earlier on happened with like the NES stuff, or maybe the early N64 stuff like Acclaim's video games, where you might have had some crossover with WWF and WCW. But I haven't. I don't remember of any cases being that way, and I'm curious to know if you guys know anything. Then definitely let me know in the comments who has appeared in two games in the same year that were active for rival companies. I'd be very curious to know. I don't think there is, but Cody Rhodes is in both of these games, and Cody will never be gone out of the AEW game with these new updates. So that's beautiful. CM Punk's in the game. CM Punk was in the game even when it was looking like CM Punk might not be in AEW anymore, when he was going through his shenanigans in the company. The game is pretty cool. I like it. The story mode is fun. When you reach certain historical points in the story mode, it replays actual clips from that moment in history from the AEW shows. It'll show you like CM Punk, his first debut in Rampage, things of that nature. It's a really fun experience to have, and if you are going to pick up a wrestling game, even if you're not the biggest AEW fan, I recommend it based solely off the gameplay alone. If you like those old WCW NWO Revenge games, or WWF No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, this game is going to be right up your alley. Remember the Def Jam Vendetta game, that Def Jam Fight for New York? It's that type of gameplay, that type of action. It's arcade, it's fun, and yes, there is a lot that the game, in my opinion, could get better with. They don't have, they don't have cage matches, for example, something that is a staple in wrestling games. But from what it looks like is they're going to be adding new arenas, that are going to be adding new game modes. They're going to be doing a lot of things with this game going forward. As a side note, before I give my final thoughts, they also have these interesting mini games that are in the game, and they actually are fun, and they have no business being as fun as they are. They're very much in line with like Mario Party or something like that, just with AEW guys running around the board collecting things, or throwing bombs into a ring is one of the mini games, or collecting coins, who can collect the most coins. And I know it sounds really silly and all that, and it is very silly, but at the same time, it's actually a really fun way of playing something else, and keeps you entertained in a game that you wouldn't necessarily equate to a party mini game. So it has a lot of variety in that circumstance, or in that situation, and you can tell that this is all directions from Kenny Omega, who basically spearheaded the project and brought this forward. He's a big gamer, and he knew exactly what he wanted out of this product, and you can tell that this is very retro feeling, and that he had his hand in a lot of this stuff. He liked, you could tell he could like the old N64 because it has these mini games in there, and the game looks good on all the consoles. The artistic style is going to keep this game looking fresh. A lot of people online were making fun of the game because it didn't have photorealism, but here's the thing about that. In 10 years, when they come out with the inevitably better looking 8K PlayStation 6 and the next box series, Y, and when those games come out, when those systems come out, and then the next iteration and next generation of photorealistic games come out, those WWE 2K games are not going to hold up as well. The art style in Fight Forever lends itself, because it's a little bit more arcadey, it lends itself to looking better years down the line. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys gonna pick up AEW Fight Forever? I know this is kind of a niche game. It's a wrestling crowds game, but if you like fighting games, if you like arcade games, if you like fun couch games, this game is for you. You don't have to necessarily like wrestling to enjoy this game. It is actually very fun. And if you are a wrestling fan, you're going to find that they have a lot of new up-and-coming stars from the AEW show, and as well as a lot of veterans. You'll find guys in there like Dustin Runnels, also known as Goldust. You'll find Sting. You'll find, Cody Rhodes, you'll find Daniel Bryan, you'll find CM Punk. So it's full of people from the past as well as a current roster. This game will also have Owen Hart in it, which is really cool. So little things like that they're working on. So my final thoughts right now: the game is 7.5 or a 7.75 out of 10, which is above average game, and I think with the DLC in a year or so, this game can actually bump itself up to an 8 or a 9. And the Switch version of the game, I would say it's the same. And barring, again, just keeping in mind that it is going to be a lower resolution than the other consoles. But you get to, take the Switch with you everywhere you go. Stick it in your pocket, take it with you. And unless you own an expensive Steam Deck, you're not going to get that experience anywhere else. So, thanks for coming through and checking out the channel again. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the content. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Are you going to pick it up? Are you going to play? Who's your favorite wrestler in the game? And what's your favorite mode? And finally, if you don't like it, go ahead, leave a thumbs down too, or let me know what I can do better. We're always striving to, put on a better show here. So as always, appreciate the support and thanks for coming.